Once a group of friends, they were traveling. So generally when people are traveling, so they discuss about some subject matters which are common for everyone. So among themselves, one started telling something about their past life. Past life means their childhood days. They were remembering and they were discussing. So one man said, actually I had a very bad childhood because my father, parents especially my father, was not responsible man. He was not taking care of the family. Like a drunkard man, generally we see they don't care for family, they don't care for their children. So he said that's how my entire childhood was, with a full of trauma, always fighting, scarcity, not struggle for even basic needs of the body. So then another man said, no, I had a fairly good childhood. In fact, my father was very responsible in that way. So he struggled a lot, but still he provided whatever is required for my upbringing. So in that way, I'm indebted to my father. So it's a fact that, everyone's, even in our own life or any ordinary man's life you take, the contribution of the parents, their affection, yes, plays an important role in shaping the future of the son. One of the recent incident, very recent, so one Indian boy has become youngest world chess champion. So he's an Indian boy, I think he's just 18-year-old. So he's the youngest one in the world so far to become a world champion in the chess game, sports. So now, generally it happens, right? Whenever someone wins a cup, he wins any Olympic medal. So many people become interested in hearing about his life, his interviews. Naturally, he becomes a limelight, he becomes a hero. So one of the interviews, he is mentioning that, how his parents supported him starting from at his age of 7 years. He started playing chess at the age of 6-7 years. So that time, he even dropped out from the regular school. Then he started preparing. He was so much involved, rigorous training. Weekly, thrice the training would go on. And of course, because he's playing chess, he has to go to the different cities, different countries to participate in the game. So small boy, he cannot travel alone. So his father, he was an ENT surgeon. He gave up his job, father, mother both. They gave up their job. They started traveling with this son to support him to become a good chess player. So then how family can be, now how about financial things? So he says that, his father's friends, his colleagues, they all decided that, okay, if you are deciding to give up the job, then we will support you financially. Now you support your son in his future in this sports, chess game. So he's remembering and recalling that, it was because of my parents' contribution, their sacrifice, they sacrificed their own career for my own good. So this shows that, generally how affectionate the parents are towards their children. Sometimes it can happen otherwise also, and irresponsible parents also are there. But generally those who are responsible parents, so generally the children also remember their contribution. Here in this verse, we can see how much affectionate the Supreme Lord is for his devotees. Kṛṣṇa says all the living entities are his sons. He is the Aham Bija Pradapita, he is the seed-giving father. Every living entity born in this world are all part and parcel of the Lord, children of the Lord. Among even all the children, those who are his devotees, Vaishnavas, they are so affectionate to him. As mentioned in this verse, Chidyam swabahum apiva pratikula ruttim. Pratikula rutti, anukula means favorable, pratikula unfavorable. If is my own arm, swabahum, my own arm, my own hand, if it does something which is pratikula ruttim, which is against the Vaishnava principles, if it in any case hurts any devotees, I don't even mind to chidyam, cut off my arms. So, in the material world, we see so many such examples of a responsible father, irresponsible father, a great father who has sacrificed his all life, entire happiness for the family. But here Supreme Lord is showing his affection to his devotees that he is ready to cut off his arms. So this verse, after Jayavaja being cursed, the sages, the Supreme Lord comes to the door. So after coming there, the Lord is addressing the 4 Kumaras. So in fact, the Lord is asking forgiveness on behalf of Jaya Vijaya to the 4 Kumaras, saying that, in the previous verses, it very beautifully it was mentioned that these attendants of mine, Jaya and Vijaya by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. O great sages, I approve of the punishment that you have devoted to me, have meted out to them. That means you both are so much devoted to me. So whatever punishment you have given to them, I am approving that. Then Lord says, to me, the brāhmaṇas is the highest and most beloved personality. The disrespect shown by my attendants has actually been displayed by me because the doormen are my servitors. So Lord is taking the blame on himself for the offense which Jaya Vijaya has committed, because they are my devotees, they are my doorkeepers. Whatever they do, mistake, yes, it is as good as I am doing the mistake. So I still take this to be an offense by myself. Therefore, I seek forgiveness for the incident that has arisen. So the Lord is showing an exemplary behavior of a very kind-hearted person, a responsible person. A responsible person generally doesn't put blame on others. Oh, this mistake happened because of him. He takes blame on himself first. That's a quality of a true leader. Even in material world, people recognize this quality as a true leadership quality. Then further Lord says, a wrong act committed by a servant leads people in general to blame his master, just as a spot of a white leprosy on any part of the body pollutes all of the skin. So this is what the Lord is with that greatness, with that great behavior, he is expressing, is asking forgiveness from the Kumaras. Now in this verse, the Lord is saying that Yasya Amruta Amala Yasha Shravanagavaha. Yasya Amruta. One who is engaged in hearing my glory, Shravana Avagaha. So glories, how the glories are described here as Amruta Amala. They are nectarian and they are without any contamination. So in that, those Amruta Amala, those words, that the glories of the Lord, when it enters, Shravana Avagaha, Avagaha means entering into. Avagamana means someone is entering. So when they enter into the ears, when they enter into the ear of a person, then what happens? Sadhya punati jagad. Sadhya means immediately. Punati means purifies. It immediately purifies. It's not that, it will take some time. The Lord, what he is saying here is Sadhya punati. So it immediately purifies. Half a person, he may be Ashwa Pachad. Ashwa means a dog. Pachad means one who is a dog eater. Ashwa Pachad or Swapacha. So the Swapacha, that person, even he may be a dog eater, one who is cooking and eating the dog meat, but if he is engaged in hearing my glories, so they will immediately become purified. And you, the 4 sages, the Kumaras, have already perfected yourself. You have realized me. You have not only just purified yourself, you have completely realized me. That's when the Lord came and gave the personal darshan to the Kumaras. Before that, they were impersonal, realized sages. So once they came to the doorstep of Vaikunta, when they smelled the fragrance of tulsi leaves, and and also there are two reasons. One is that they smelled tulsi leaves, another is they received instructions from their father and spiritual master Brahma. So because of that, they became personalists. So the personalist means they become completely realized about the absolute nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you have realized, and because of this, even if my alms, even if their acts is found hostile to you, then I am ready to I don't even hesitate to chop off my own arms. So the Lord is showing the highest degree of affection for the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, especially when here in this series of verses, the Lord is referring to Brahmanas, it is referring to Brāhmaṇa Vaishnavas. Brahmanas and then Vaishnava. Every Vaishnava is by default a Brahmana, but not every Brahmana is Vaishnava. One has to rise above, one has to further advance from the Brahmanical position, then only he can become a Vaishnava. So that's what the Lord is saying here, that anyone in the entire world, even down to the caṇḍāla, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath in hearing through the ear the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you have realized me without doubt, therefore I will not hesitate to lop off my own harm if its conduct is found hostile to you. Such a affectionate father he is. So in the Purport, Prabhupada quotes about Bhagavad-gītā 9th chapter. Prabhupada just mentions verse number 31, 30, 31 and 32. These three verses, Prabhupada just mentions that, Bhagavad-gītā it is mentioned like this. So 30th verse Prabhupada is mentioning, just one verse before that, the Lord says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu, name dveshosti na priyaha. Samoham sarva bhuteshu, I am equal to all the living entities. Name dveshostana priyaha, no one is my enemy, no one is my friend. Because father means whether someone is intelligent, whether is dull-headed, one is handicapped, one is bedridden, it doesn't make any difference for the father. He equally shows affectionate for all the children. But still, next, ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. He's telling, yes, I'm equal to everyone, but there is something special about only few people. What is that? But whoever renders service unto me in devotion, he is a friend, he is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Does this mean the Lord is not friend to others? He is friend to everyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. He is equal to everyone. He is neither enemy nor friend of anyone, but someone who is engaged in his devotion. He is very dear to me. He is in me, and I am also in him. He is my friend. So then why Lord is saying one place he is saying I am equal to everyone, another place he is saying, a few people are very dear to me. What is the reason? So that's what mentioned in the next three verses which Prabhupada has referred to in this purport. The next verse says, Api chestu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhag sadhuresava mantavya samyak vyavasto hi saha. So whatever mentioned in this verse, even the dog eater, if he is engaged in the process of hearing the glories of the Lord, he becomes completely purified. So that's what Api chestu duracharo. Like in this purport, Prabhupada mentions one important statement. If a devotee born in a family of a caṇḍāla, the lowest caste, is sometimes found engaged in his habitual activities. Like suppose someone is born in a caṇḍāla family, but he has already become a devotee. But still, someone has two types of responsibilities. One is material responsibility, another is spiritual behavior. Material behavior and spiritual behavior. Materially, since he is born in caṇḍāla family, he may be engaged in some activities which generally caṇḍālas do. Like one of the story where Narada Muni meets a Muchi, a cobbler and a brāhmaṇa. So what Muchi was doing? He was stitching the shoes. He was sitting outside the village, he was stitching the shoes, but still he was a devotee, better than a brāhmaṇa. So, but how can a devotee be doing that kind of a service? He should have been doing some other service. No, because he is born in that Varnashrama, according to that Varna, is acting, but still he is a devotee. That's what Prabhupada here is mentioning. A devotee born in family of caṇḍāla is sometimes found engaged in his habitual activities. Still, he is not to be considered a caṇḍāla. In other words, a Vaishnava should not be evaluated in terms of his body. That's what here Kṛṣṇa is saying. Apichestu duracharo. Someone, he may be engaged in durachari, he may be a durachari. But, bhajatema ananyabhak. But engaged in my devotional service, ananyabhak means without deviation. Ananyabhak. Then, sadhuresava mantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Still he should be considered as sadhu because he is properly situated. Then, how can a person who is a durachari be properly situated? A durachari may be okay, a sadhaka, a neophyte devotee may be doing some offenses, but not durachara. If someone is grossly violating regulatory principles, so that shows that, devotee is not serious. But whereas Kṛṣṇa here is saying that he is properly situated. Doing durachara and parallelly properly situated. Both cannot go together, right? That in the next verse immediately, Kṛṣṇa answers this. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Immediately, kshipram means very quickly. Because he is engaged in the process of bhajana kriya, bhajatema ananyabhak, he will immediately become righteous. Kripsham bhavati dharmatma, shashvat chanti nigacchati. He will attain eternal peace. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Arjuna, declare it boldly to the whole world that my devotee will never perish. So just because he is engaged, even though he may be doing some, because of his habitual problem, whatever, karma, anarthas, previous, some bad behavior, he may be showing some such symptoms or some activities like that. But if he is righteous, if he is properly situated, if he is really engaged in ananyabhak, then he will immediately become a devotee. He will immediately become righteous. He will attain everlasting peace. That's what Kṛṣṇa is saying. The next verse, which is the conclusion of this series of verses, where the Kṛṣṇa says, Mahami partha vipashitya yepeshu papa yunayaha striyo vaishya tata shudras tepi yanti param gatim. So Sanna Pruta, those who have taken shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas, as well as shudras, can approach the supreme destination. This is the beauty of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, bhakti, that in other processes, especially in the smarta brāhmaṇas, those who are followers of Shankarites, they say, unless you take birth in the womb of a brāhmana woman, no one can become a brāhmana. This is the statement which Shankarites strongly advocate. So unless you take birth in the womb of a brāhmana woman, you cannot become a brāhmana. But that's not the case which what Bhagavad-gītā, Bhagavatam or any Vedic literature which are mentioning that, even Shudras, forget about other, like Shudra, even Mlecha, merchants, Vaishyas, Tata Vaishyata. So forget about Vaishnas, even Shudras can become, forget about Shudras, even a dog eater. Shudras are considered as the 4th class. So dog eater is 5th class. There are some more classes, 6th class, 7th class. Even they can attain this highest perfection if they are following bhakti process. So that's what the Lord is so affectionate. He is glorifying his devotees. The Lord is mentioning even he may be a dog eater, doesn't matter. If he is engaged in the hearing process, if he is taking bath in the process of hearing of my glories, then he is considered a great devotee. The entire purport, the verse mentions about the affection the Lord has for his devotees, and in the entire purport, Prabhupada glorifies the devotees, even though they may be some may not be properly situated, doesn't matter. But still, if they are on the path, it is for sure that they are going to reach that destination ultimately. So a devotee as husband and wife, they have written to Srila Prabhupada asking for some clarification regarding the deity worship. So Prabhupada, in that reply to them, Prabhupada is mentioning Jayatirtha Das and Manjoli Dasi. So Prabhupada with Prabhupada starts with my blessings and all those things. So Prabhupada had installed Rukmini Dwarkadesh deities in New Dwarka, and probably some of you are already aware that Prabhupada, before leaving, after the deity installation, Prabhupada immediately had to leave for the next engagement. So before leaving, Prabhupada stood in front of the deities with folded hands, and he has prayed to the deities. So what Prabhupada had prayed, Prabhupada is mentioning in this letter. Please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your card dated October 25th, 1975, along with a beautiful photograph Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish of New Dwarka. So do it nicely. They have asked something, that's what regarding deity worship, Prabhupada is replying. So do it nicely. I have invited Kṛṣṇa, and he may not be insulted by disrespectful behavior. I have introduced this symptom of deity worship among the non-believers, the atheists, the mlechas, the yavanas, and I prayed to Kṛṣṇa that I am inviting you to come. So please, because you are seated in their hearts, please give them the intelligence how to serve you so that you may not be inconvenienced. Because Prabhupada knew they are all very young devotees. They don't know the proper etiquettes of deity worship. If you actually go and verify about what Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu talks about offenses to be avoided against the deity worship and all, truly speaking, we also, sometimes we hear past times where deity installation happened. Then for the Aarti curtain opened, Kṛṣṇa didn't had, cloths only. Then immediately a curtain was closed. The temple president ran to the altar. They wrapped the deities with some cloth because they didn't do anything what to actually be doing. So that's what Prabhupada is saying that, I invited you. So now you inspire them. You are seated in their hearts, so please give them intelligence how to serve you so that you may not be inconvenienced. You only give intelligence to them so that you will not become inconvenienced. If you really, in one sense, actually, if you really want good service, so you please inspire them. So Prabhupada is praying to Kṛṣṇa. Prabhupada knew that, neophyte devotees, they will not be knowing all the, rules and regulations for the deity worship. So praying to Kṛṣṇa only, give them the due intelligence. I have introduced this system to the mlechas, the yavanas, and the lowest and fallen, but still it is successful. I think that you are doing nicely. As soon as one thinks that he is greater than his spiritual master, that is the greatest offense. Kṛṣṇa will give one everything, but to these offenders, everything is lost. So Kṛṣṇa is merciful. If a devotee is very neophyte, is innocent, but if he is really a good devotee, if he really wants to become, purify himself, Kṛṣṇa is ready to do anything, everything, like how Kṛṣṇa is saying here. But if someone is an offender, if someone tries to start thinking that, he is greater than his spiritual master, then Kṛṣṇa will not forgive him. Then further, Prabhupada mentions that, never think of the deity as made of stone or wood. Every worshipper must remember that Kṛṣṇa is personally present. He is simply kindly presenting himself before us in a way so that we can handle him. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. The person who has shown Vishwarupa to Arjuna, that deity we are worshipping, we are carrying him. Sometimes he is so heavy, we do some even mistakes. Because we are not able to carry or we are not able to give some proper respect to the deity. So he has become like that to accept service from us. Like Gadadhar Pandit, in his old age, he was not able to stand and decorate the deity. So he was lamenting that, I have become so old and invalid. I am not able to do proper service to you. So the Lord heard his prayers, then Lord sat down so that Gadadhar Pandit need not have to struggle to decorate the deity. So that is the merciful nature of the Lord. So every worshipper must remember that Kṛṣṇa is personally present. He is simply kindly presenting himself before us in a way so that we can handle him. That is his mercy, otherwise he is unapproachable. So Prabhupada in the same letter is quoting verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Atha Shri Kṛṣṇa namadi nabaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhihi jivhado swayam heva spuradyadaha. So this verse has two parts. First part is No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality and pastimes of Kṛṣṇa through his materially contaminated senses. So no one can understand. That is the first part. Then second part is, only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. First part says, no one can understand the transcendental nature of the Lord's name, form and all. Second, we cannot understand, but if we are sincerely trying, the Lord himself will reveal. Swayam heva spuradyataha. Swayam, on his own, he will reveal to us. That's why bhakti is not achieved. Bhakti is received. Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya. Praptasya means, prapti means obtaining, receiving. It is not achieved. Okay, because of my serious sadhana, because of my good chanting, soulful japa, I became a good devotee. Yes, these are all means to go there, but ultimately it is Krishna's mercy, spiritual master's mercy. Spiritual master received that mercy from the Supreme Lord, and in turn he will give it to his disciples. That is the meaning of Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya. He receives mercy from Supreme Lord and then he distributes it to the devotees, his disciples. It's very easy as well as difficult. Easy for those who are very simple, those who have understood that, how we should actually deal with the devotee, spiritual master and the deities. Difficult for those who are not able to come out of their material weakness like kama, krodha. That's why it is easy as well as very, very difficult. So in one of Padma Purana says about what Prabhupada in this purport, glorifying the devotees even though they are born in the low form. So Padma Purana says about Arche Vishnu Shiladir Gurushu Naramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. One should not consider the form of the Lord as made of stone or wood. One should not consider Guru as an ordinary person. Guru Naramatir. Then Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. We should not consider Vaishnava by their caste. Vaishnava is above all the caste system. He is above even Varnashrama system. Brāhmaṇa, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Vaishnava is above even Brahmanas. So that's why we should not consider. So in another place, Bhaktivinoda Thakur further elaborates about this statement, where he says that, just because one is born in a high birth in a Vaishnava family doesn't guarantee purity. And also, low birth of a Vaishnava should not be considered. So there he quotes a verse where Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ese kule Vaishnavera janma khene nai, tathapi sarvottama sarva shastrikai. Ye papishta Vaishnava jati buddhi kare, janma janma hadama yonite dhubi mare. In case, if someone considers Vaishnava by his caste, he was from such a low born, he is from a low caste, or he is not good looking, he is ugly. So one should not discriminate devotees based on their janma. Ye se kule Vaishnavera janma. Then tathapi sarvottama sarva shastrakai. This is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. Then in case if ye papishta Vaishnavera jati buddhi kare, yadi some sinful man, papishta, if he is discriminating based on that, janma hadame yonite dhube mare. For life after life he has to suffer. Doob mar jayega wo. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, that one has to respect a Vaishnava in that way. That's why among all the offense to the Vaishnavas, knowingly or unknowingly, if we are committing, we have to be very cautious, very careful. If not, simply we will be doing our bhakti, following principles and all, but just because we are offending Vaishnavas, the desired result, that is Krishna Prema, we will not be getting. So one should not consider that. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, there is no separate caste known as Vaishnava caste. If someone takes full shelter of Shuddha Bhakti, then he alone is known as a Vaishnava, regardless of his birth in a Brāhmaṇa, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or even Antyaja. Antyaja means outcast. Generally Shastra says about these four castes. There is another caste known as outcast, which they are not considered among as civilized human beings. So even born in that, like Swapacha, dog eater family, fifth class, sixth class, seventh class, even they can also become good devotee. So birth is not necessarily a prerequisite for devotional service. For devotional service, what is required is the attitude, is the character of a devotee. What is that? I should become a devotee, I should not be doing offenses and follow the Vedic literatures, principles mentioned in the Vedic literatures. That's what makes one a very good devotee. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Haridas Thakur, he visits Shantipur, Advaitacharya's place. So then because we know that, Advaita, he was born in a Muslim family, he also always used to consider himself as a low-born. So, but we all know the position of Haridas Thakur. So, he visited Advaitacharya's place. That was the time when Advaitacharya was performing Shraddha ceremony for his father. So, when he was performing Shraddha ceremony, so Advaitacharya, whatever after Shraddha, it is that brāhmaṇa bhojana is a custom as per the Vedic tradition. So, that bhojan, he has to feed brāhmanas. So, he fed Haridas Thakur first. So, Haridas Thakur felt very embarrassed. Haridas Thakur is saying to Advaitacharya, my dear Advaitacharya, let me submit something before your honor. Every day you give me alms of food to eat. What is necessity of this? Sir, you are living within a society of great brahmanas and aristocrats, but without fear or shame, you adore lower caste man like me. My dear sir, your behavior is uncommon. Indeed, sometimes I am afraid to speak to you. But please favor me by protecting me from the behavior of society. Because you are giving me lot of respect, which is embarrassing me, as well as even from the social point of view, doesn't look good. Because there are so many aristocratic brahmanas, other devotees are there. Why are you considering me like this? Then Advaitacharya replied to Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, do not be afraid. I shall behave strictly according to the principles of revealed scriptures. Don't think that, I am violating any principles of the Vedic literatures. I am actually behaving strictly according to the Vedic principles. Then Advaitacharya next quotes, Thumi kaile hayakoti brahmana bhojan, Eta bali shraddha patra karaila bhojan. Feeding you is equal to feeding 10 million brahmanas. Hayakoti brahmana. 10 million means 1 crore. Feeding is equal to feeding 1 crore brahmanas. Advaitacharya said, therefore accept this shraddha patra. That means a portion which is meant to be given to the brahmanas. Shraddha patra. So Advaitacharya, and then Advaitacharya made Haridas Thakur to eat. So this is the real position of a Vaishnava. His position is much higher than brahmanas, those who are just addicted to some religious ritualistic principles. In brahmanas also there are so many varieties, Vaishnavas also there are so many varieties. But one should see by his behavior. That's what Advaitacharya is recognizing and stressing, that I am not doing anything which violates the Vedic principles. I am doing exactly what is there in the Vedic literatures. In the Purport, Prabhupada quotes this verse. Purport to the Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, Prabhupada quotes verse from today's, which we discussed, 3.16.6, where Lord himself is saying that, so I even ready to chop off my hands if they are doing something which is against my Vaishnavas, which is hurting to my devotees. So that Prabhupada quotes in this. And then Prabhupada also quotes a verse from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur from his Bhakti Sandarbha. So in the Purport, Prabhupada quotes, Brahmananam sahasrebhya satrayaji vishishyate. Brahmananam sahasrebhya Shastrayaji Vishishyate. Among the Brahmanas, among the thousands of Brahmanas, one who is Shastrayaji, one who is following the regulative principles of the Vedic literature, he is better. Then Shastrayaji Sahasrebhya Sarva Vedanta Paraga. Even among the thousands, Shastrayaji, those who are followers of Vedic literatures, one who is Sarva Vedanga Paraga, one who is expert in the Vedanta knowledge, one who has completely understood and expert, he is better. Then Sarva Vedanta Vitkotya, among those who are expert in Sarva Vedanga, among them, crores among them, Kotya, Vishnu Bhakto Vishishyate. A devotee of Lord Vishnu is special, even among those 1 crore such expert Vedic realized Brahmanas. So Vishnu Bhakto Vishishyate Vaishnavanam Sahasrebhya Ekanti Eko Vishishyate. Even one Vaishnava among the thousands of Vaishnavas, one Vaishnava, one who is engaged in devotional service of the Lord is the best. This is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji is quoting in the Bhakti Sandarbha. A Brahmana qualified to offer sacrifice is better than ordinary Brahmana, and better than such Brahmana is one who has studied all the scriptures. Among such Brahmanas, one who is devoted to Lord Vishnu is best, and among many such Vaishnavas, one who is fully engaged in the service of the Lord is the best. So, Bhakti Rashta Vidhi Ihesha Yasmin Blechapi Vartate Sa Viprendo Munisreshta Sagnani Sa Pandita Tasmai Deyam Tato Grahyam Sacha Pujo Yatahari. There are many different kinds of devotees, but even a Vaishnava coming from a family of Mlecha Savarnas is understood to be a learned scholar, completely in knowledge, if he knows the Vaishnava philosophy. So why Lord is ready to chop off his own arm? It's a metaphorical statement to show the magnanimity or greatness of the Lord. But why is that? What propelled Lord to make this statement? Lord wanted to glorify his devotees, that how much affectionate devotees are, how great the devotees are. In case if someone offends them, blasphemes them, hurts them, the Lord is not going to take it very easily. When a person is ready to chop off his own arm, so does it become difficult for him to chop off some other's arm? That means Lord is warning that if someone does any Vaishnava aparadh, be careful. I'll just chop off your head. So in that way, the Lord is showing his affection. So that's why the Supreme Lord is the most affectionate Father. So we have seen so many fathers, mothers in our different lives. But ultimately, if we turn our attention towards our Supreme Father, who is the most affectionate, then there is no more birth. So that's what in this verse the Lord is showing his compassionate behavior. With this I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.